Luke Skywalker and Han Solo rescued the princess, destroyed the Death Star, but their story didn't end there.
The Empire Strikes Back, the sequel to the original Star Wars, is a film that gets more beloved as it ages. On Variety's list of the 100 greatest movies of all time, Empire sits in 30th place between Sidney Lumet's Network and Billy Wilder's Double Indemnity. However, upon its initial release, it received mixed reviews. Why is it that the collective opinion has shifted so far? In his StarWars.com article, Mark Newbold hypothesizes that audiences needed to see Return of the Jedi and the ending of the original trilogy to appreciate its predecessor fully. Newbold writes, quote, "Not to us fans who have adored the film since its release, but to the wider world who perhaps needed the resolutions brought to us by Return of the Jedi to appreciate the nuances and dangers that Empire presented fully." End quote. But what about movies that aren't part of a series? There have been countless examples in the past of films that, upon release, were unsuccessful, yet gained a cult following. Returning to Variety's 100 best movies of all time list, in 8th place is It's a Wonderful Life. The 1947 holiday classic flopped at the box office and only gained popularity when it entered the public domain and began airing on television in 1974. Citizen Kane, considered by many to be the greatest film of all time, was also a critical failure upon release. A disappointing truth about the film industry is that it is a business. Movies only get made if producers believe that the movie will make money. However, movies are also works of art. One thing that makes cinema as a medium so interesting is the clash between financial viability and artistic resonance. I was thinking about this concept while watching the new Ari Aster film, Beau is Afraid, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Aster became one of my favorite young voices in Hollywood due to my love of his first two feature films, Hereditary and Midsommar. The latter, in particular, has become one of my favorite contemporary horror films due to its incredible visuals, emotional resonance, and great performances. Because of how great both these movies are, I have been excited to see Beau is Afraid ever since I heard that Aster and Phoenix would be working together. Since the movie hit theaters, however, it has been critically divisive. One of the biggest complaints is lobbed at the film's 3-hour runtime. Others pan the film for its bizarre plot. I have mixed feelings about the movie after my first time seeing it. Beau is Afraid is an incredibly dense film that I doubt I will fully grasp without rewatches. However, when I see these mixed reviews because of how complex and challenging the film is to its viewers, I see it as a great thing. Some of my favorite films are surreal or have elements that can confound viewers. One of my favorite writers of all time is Charlie Kaufman. I always knew I loved movies. However, I fell in love with them when I was 16. One night, my dad suggested we watch this trippy movie where Jim Carrey isn't funny. That night we watched Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It was a complex, thematic, visually dynamic, and tragic movie. This film, along with Pulp Fiction, Arrival, and The Prestige, taught me that time was a narrative element in a story that you have just as much control over as any other. Although the film is not necessarily hard to follow, it is an excellent example of a movie that didn't hold the audience's hand. Kaufman expected and earned viewer participation. It's great that Ari Aster is given access to great actors like Joaquin Phoenix and a substantial budget to make a 3-hour surreal fever dream. He earned it by changing the game with 2 nearly perfect horror films. I think it's important that I say I'm not attacking or discrediting any negative criticism that the movie gets. Voice your opinion freely. This video is less about the film and more about artistic freedom. To illustrate an idea, let's talk for a moment about Tyler, the Creator. He's an artist whose output and its evolution fascinate me. Artist evolutions in general are very fun to look at. His debut mixtape, Bastard, and his following album, Goblin, were rap albums whose horror inspiration and dark tones set him apart from other young artists.
My only problem is death. Fuck heaven, I ain't showing no religious respect. Brain damage therapy's the only thing I regret. Talking to me is like a fucking body missing a neck, but...
Wolf, his second album, was a clear step up in the diversity of sound and style. However, after this, he would release what many Tyler fans consider his Black Sheep album, Cherry Bomb.
Excuse me, mister, but can you please turn down the lights? I don't really like all these cameras, man, and this shit just don't feel right.
The main criticism of the album was its lack of focus, as the track list swung wildly between tones and genres. However, his following 3 albums would all come to gain critical acclaim, those albums being Flower Boy, Igor, and Call Me If You Get Lost. While Cherry Bomb has its supporters, and I love many of the songs on the album, many see it as Tyler's most disjointed and unfocused project. The point behind this summation of Tyler the Creator's albums is that sometimes an artist needs creative freedom to make something unique. I don't think Flower Boy or Igor would have been as great if Tyler didn't have the space to experiment with this sound on Cherry Bomb. I'm not discounting the artistic merit of Cherry Bomb or Beau is Afraid. The life of an artist is a life of evolution and change. Sometimes a period of experimentation is what an artist needs to grow. The business side of the film industry, wholly concerned with a film's financial performance, makes it hard for more experimental films to get made. For this reason, I will always celebrate when I see a director earn the ability to make bold choices and see their vision through. Perhaps Beau is Afraid, like Citizen Kane or The Empire Strikes Back before it, will only grow in acclaim and popularity as time goes on. Or perhaps it'll be a movie that will remain disliked by many, but will be an artistic bridge in the eras of creativity in Astor's work, like Tyler the Creator's Cherry Bomb. But at the very least, it will always be the unique and bold work of a director who earned the ability to take risks.